Okay. Hello, friends. Wish you a very happy and good Friday. I can say that, and happy Easter. And today we are coming up with second Youth Excellence Symposium, and we have with us CA Prashant Gupta, who has the startup of his own, along with other chartered accountant members, that is called Firmway. We have also tied up, ICI as a whole has also tied up with Firmway, and we can say it's an excellent tool to have the confirmations. Further, we have C. Gautam Mota, Yogesh Bhanushali, Heet Saula, Vatsal Shah, my young battalion. And I really appreciate that Gautam and Yogesh Bhai and entire team, Heet, Vatsal, have put a lot of efforts to bring out this session. So today's session, we are focusing on the startup. So a lot of members, we always used to say earlier, that members are going either in practice or in industry, taking job. As per the last results, there are about 12,500 chartered accountants qualified. So students qualified as a members, and more than 80% of them were looking for job. And however, and we have more than 150 companies in our campus placement, and excellent packages and all the companies are offering. Further, friends, we also have seen that a lot of members, after certain years of their job or directly, are also having their own startups also. And to have the success story of the startup and motivate our members to have their own business, entrepreneurship skills, we thought we should have one such session every month, so that our own chartered accountants can share their success story. So today we have C. Prashant Gupta, who has his own startup called Firmway. He has started his journey a couple of years back, and they have grown. They were also part of BAC incubator, and I have seen personally, I have seen their growth, and I'm very happy they are being successful and having tie-up with the institute for our members also. So, in the first session, the Prashant will share his success story, and the next session is also very interesting: automation in the financial statements. So, our endeavor to serve the best to our young members. We are also coming up with some tech on 2 days tech conference. We are also coming up with RRC. This all will be in the month of May, June. We are also coming up with some international tech conference, leadership summit, and there's our youth symposium will be will go on always all Fridays, 4 to 6. So block your time. I wish all of you a very happy journey of your career, and with the initiative of this WIMEC, the young members, the women members will really excel well with the support of entire team of my young members committee. The today's speaker, Prashant and Jainam, both are here. And next 2 hours, let us hear them out. And once again, my appreciation to all my moderators. Welcome to the speakers, and my thanks to the Shanu, Ruchi, and Jaya, my team of women and young members excellence committee. As you are aware, we have also changed the name from empowerment to excellence, and I'm sure all of you will excel in your career. With these words, I now give charge to my moderators and request Vatsal to please introduce our today's first speaker, CA Prashant Gupta. By the way, let me introduce myself, CA Preeti Saula. I'm Central Council member and chairperson of this Women and Young Members Excellence Committee. So with these words, let us open this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Preeti ma'am. So yeah, let me take this chance to introduce today's speaker, CA Prashant Gupta. Mr. Prashant is co-founder and CEO at Firmway, chartered accountant by qualification, but entrepreneur by passion. He comes with 8 years of experience across domains. Before starting Firmway, he has worked with Natwarlal Vipari and Company, handling stat audits, internal audits, and taxation matters, including audit assignments of large listed companies, thereby gaining in-depth knowledge of business process across various functions. His passion towards technology led to foundation of Firmway way back in 2016. He has played multiple roles across the company, starting from scratch and now serving 950 plus CA firms and corporates. He's a subject matter expert in business process automation and has spent years in developing dozens of use cases. With that, we are very glad to have you, sir. Over to you, Prashant, sir.
Thank you, Vatsal, for the introduction. Thank you, Preeti ma'am, for the introduction and helping us have such sessions. And we've been connected with you for a long time. And like you said, you've seen our journey from the start of it that way. So quickly, I'll move towards the session and I'll try to keep it short and sweet, but also try to keep it quite informative for the young members who would be willing to go in this path of entrepreneurship that way. So,
Prashant, can you be a bit louder?
sure. Is my voice, is there an issue? Is it better now?
Yeah, much better, much better.
Okay, okay, great.
Yeah.
So let me just quickly share my screen. Is my screen visible? Okay, okay, great. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the virtual program. And today's topic for us is on a success story of startup in India. So, here I'll also cover two aspects. One, about a brief about the startup industry in India, and secondly, also cover individually how at Firmway we have been there and how we have grown, how we conceptualize the idea, how we and then how we grew in the entire space, and what led us to reach to the current stage we are. So quickly I'll move ahead on this. So today we have seven things in the agenda. The first is about just a quick brief about Firmway so that you can connect with what our journey been and you'll be able to understand more in detail. Second is how Indian startups are disrupting the traditional businesses. Third would be the Firmway idea, and the fourth would be our journey and challenges which we faced. Fifth would be more on the case studies part of it. And sixth would be key takes away from our journey, what our experience was able to teach us, and which can be beneficial to other CA entrepreneurs also who would be starting this journey, as well as all the public at large. And then we can have a small Q&A session if you guys have any queries on these issues. Right. So quickly moving out to the first agenda. So at Firmway, basically, like it was introduced, we are a team of chartered accountants and we started this journey. The vision which we carry is we have created a B2B plug and play solution which can completely automate confirmations and reconciliations. So, thus empowering audit and accounts team basically to increase the profitability of company. So, we want to move, we carry a vision where we want to move from the accounts from a cost center to a profit generating center. So that's the entire vision which we carry. In terms of a quick background, we were founded by CAs back in 2016. We are serving right now more than 150 plus customers Our revenue is more than 150 million rupees, and we are currently profitable. So that's a quick background about this. And in terms of a solution, we offer a bouquet of solutions, whether it is with respect to balance confirmations, reconciliations, tax reconciliations, etc. And in terms of, we are now serving these many corporates and CA firms who are registered on our system and using our software in India and Dubai. One key aspect is definitely we have, like Preeti ma'am also mentioned, that we are partnered with C Institute and are registered on their platform, CMP Benefits. So that's just a big background. These are definitely the couple of clients we are currently serving. So it is more than spread it across 50 plus industries with large leading companies. Similarly, these are couple of CA firms we work with. These are industry leaders in their respective areas and are say 20% of the top 100 firms are already using a solution. So we would be able to say that okay, now the solution is bit of established in the market, and now it's the growth scale where Firmway is right now. The reason I wanted to share this information so that you can gauge and you can understand the scale which we have reached right now, so that you'll be able to connect with the journey better. So quickly, I'll move on to the concept of startup. So yes, any business you start could be considered as a startup, but in terms of startup, there are four critical things which are required, which qualifies in the world of as a tech startup. So one, definitely it's a new business. Second is you are innovating something. So it's not a traditional business which you are running, but you have innovated the entire way the things happen. You have disrupted, and it can disrupt the entire industry. The third aspect is technology. So in terms of that you are using to increasing to making the entire solution. So it's not just helping your business, but it is something which is being used as the core of your business. And lastly is passion. So that's what four things makes a startup, and that is what we are trying to cover in the current session on journey for a startup. So if you see the kind of disruptions which have happened already in this industry is, for example, taxi services. So we all know the Olas and Ubers of the world, the way they have changed the way people commute, right? So it is now completely disrupted, and that many of us never think of booking a taxi and always try to book an Ola and Uber for the comfort and the benefits it offers. Another disruptions we know is in grocery. So where used to buy groceries from shops and kirana stores, versus now the way you can have 1 minute delivery, 15 minutes delivery, 10 minutes delivery by to the apps like of Grofers, Blinkits, etc. of the world. So that is how the journey has been completely disrupted. Hotel services, the way OYO disrupted the entire hotel chain, and the way it gives you a comfort and standardization across India and globally. So that is that shopping has been disrupted by the large by technology like Flipkart, Myntra, etc., Amazon, and all. So where no one wants to now. There definitely it is disrupting still yet, but the kind of for especially for the youth, the way it has completely changed the way of shopping is definitely it is impacted. Similar, we have stories for food industry where you used to go out and dine or for any dining experience, but with Zomato, Food Panda, Swiggy, you can now have the hot food in your home within 20 minutes, 30 minutes kind of a delivery thing, which is crazy. In fact, they have recently also started where you can order the food from any part of your country in a 1 day kind of a scenario. So if you see, they have completely disrupted the food market, and many of us are regular users of apps like Zomato and Swiggy. So the entire industry is definitely changing. The this entire era is of technological disruptions, and everything is going to be disrupted because since you have technology, you have AI, you have blockchains, you have machine learnings, you have the way Web3 is coming in. Things are not going to be safe. It is just a matter of time. Every industry would change, but it would be just when the users are ready for that industry, it would be there. So definitely, this is not something this is not something which is evitable, but it is where you can seize on the opportunity and you can take that way. So, would going ahead, what's the main difference between a business versus a startup? So, for example, if you consider Big Bazaar versus Flipkart, so Big Bazaar currently had 350 stores in around 100 cities. It is valued more than 2000 crores, and it was founded in 2001, 6 years before Flipkart was born. But when Flipkart came in, it had six warehouses, but it is still at a zero store. So Flipkart does not own a single store of its own. But if you see the valuation, it was worth at that time 98,000 crore plus. And similarly, you are aware about the valuations post that as well. And it was founded in 2007. So if you see the kind of a difference which you have in a traditional business versus the new business, it is drastic. And the kind of definitely the valuations or the business valuation you get because of the size you can achieve and the scale you can achieve it at the lesser capex of it is sizable. Similarly, if you consider the example of Meru versus Uber. So if you see in this case, Meru, they own around 12,000 cabs, and it is valued at $120 million. And versus Uber, it came with a concept with zero owning of the car. So they don't own a single car. Still, they are worth more than $62 billion. So that's how, and it has been founded in 2009. So that's how, if you see the kind of a contrast you have for a tech startup versus traditional business is huge. And that's what we are talking about, that how you can leverage this kind of a journey and you can use. So definitely there are a lot of glamorous stories available in the market. But it is not all the stories are such glamorous, and the journey is a bit different if you see practically. People, what they see is how Flipkart became overnight a $1 billion company. Similarly, how Uber became a $1 billion company. But these are not the things which happens with all the startups in India or globally, and the way it has to be carried out is different. So today, what we'll be discussing is, say, how the ordinary startups also be there in the market. How look out from where it is not an $1 billion kind of a valuations yet, but how the journey goes and how we'll share our personal experience, that how we were able to reach where we are right now and what is our path going forward as well. So quickly, so for any startup to be successful, we have five things which is required. One is idea. So you should be having a strong idea to start with. So it's just a start. So having an idea versus whether that idea can be implemented, both are different things, but it definitely starts with a good idea. Second aspect of it is teams. So you definitely cannot build the entire business on your own, and you would require a team to make it scalable. So that's one of the most important areas. And when we will understand the top reasons of failure, we will come to know that how much it impacts as of now. The third part is business model. So, what is the business model you're going to make? So there are many ideas which are very good, which are what is people require, but it is not a successful business model. like it cannot generate good profitability for the company, and which impacts the entire the startup and whether it can become a successful or not. The fourth aspect is funding. So there are definitely huge number of startups which fail because of lack of cash flows, right? So it is very important that you plan your funding accordingly, and you have right amount of funds for that. And the last aspect is timing. So in terms of timing is a very important factor again. So there are a lot of cases which you would have heard that plans are not the startup it was a very good idea, it was a brilliant idea, it was executed well, etc. But the timing was not right, and the startup could not sustain on it. So all the five elements are very essential. However, it has to be properly taken care of. So, quickly from this onwards, before we get down into what Firmway is and Firmway's journey, another aspect which I need to understand is before you start. So, if you have a very good idea, that's a great thing. You need to apply five aspects before you uh, think whether that startup can be started or not, right? Can that idea be implemented and a startup can be created for that or not? So the first is identify your target audience, whom you are selling the product to, and categorize about them. I guess one thing which we learned is that our target audience is good and they have a need of the product, but whether your they have money to buy the solution or not, or to invest in that kind of a solution or not. So that is the paying capacity of your customers also impacts greatly whether your idea would be successful or not, right? So these are different kind of scenarios which are available, which you need to consider in this. The second is the size of users, whether it's a good problem to solve. Definitely that's there, but what if the user side, the target market is very small, if you're solving a very niche product for a set of audience, and if it cannot be scalable, then there is a high chances that your business would get impacted by that. So for if you're starting a tech startup, scalability and the size of users matters a lot in those cases. The third aspect is business size. So, what is the business you are expecting to create out of this? What is the market size you're trying to create for these startups? And accordingly, a lot of things would go that way. And so, I'll also show you how Firmway fared in all these matrices. So that way we can take you through the journey of Firmway as if that you have been seeing that from the day one, and accordingly you can you can apply all these matrices on that, right? Then you have whether it is a B2B market, B2C market, whether you also need to very effectively do your competitor analysis. The competitor can be your in your geography, for example, in India, or it could be a global competitor also. So it is also very important if it is a product is already tested, then that will give you a lot of insights about the market. But so that is how these five things are very important to understand whether your startup your idea is implementable or not. Right. So now I'll take a quick time to just in 3 slides explain you what Firmway does so that you can understand a journey better. So to just give you a quick glance that how we started Firmway. So we were a team of chartered accountants, and I and Vivek Chandan. So we were two chartered accountants who started this. So we were friends, and we did our articleship together. And post we did our articleship, we went into, so Vivek joined KPMG for a year and a half, and he was doing statutory audit at that time, post qualification. I was pursuing CFA, and I did the job in investment bank. So for a year, and then the idea struck us. So basically, as a part of statutory audit, you would be aware there is a process called confirmations. So as a statutory auditor, you need to take independent confirmations from clients, customers, vendors, and bank from that perspective. And it was done currently manually. So people, auditor used to ask the clients to send it, or auditor used to send emails, and accordingly they used to follow with the clients for getting a confirmations. So that is something which we, being in KPMG, Vivek witnessed that the how serious the process was and how adamant the partner was to get a complete response to a confirmation, and how low the response rate was. तो उसमें क्या होता था कि we have to then send these confirmations requests to all the parties through couriers and all, and through Blue Dart and all. We used to track the responses, etc., whether the courier has reached or not, and then follow up with the client, and till the time you get 100% response rate or a sizable amount of a response rate. So that is when the idea struck us that why we don't automate it. And it's one of the biggest problem statements in Satyam happened. There was definitely a lot of issues. It made bank confirmations compulsory. Uh, so on those lines, just a second. Yes. So that was the time when Satyam case also happened, and bank confirmations became more important that way. And people started doing this process. So it was something which we started with. Uh, but I like to share that how we realized that it is not a solution, it is not a product on which we can build the entire company, and then how we did the pivot and all. But this was just wanted to give you a brief how we came across this idea. And we created a software for automating confirmations and reconciliations. So quickly, but today, the way the entire solution is built, I'll let you know on that. So today, as on today, the kind of solution we have, I'll just take you through that. So today, we have built the entire solution from a corporate perspective, where now what we understand that as a manufacturing company and a trading company, once they grow beyond a particular size, a company start facing a lot of revenue leakages. So if you see a company dealing with more than 1,000 plus customers and vendors, you will be losing a lot of money. Businesses lose in terms of collection cycle, in terms of write-offs, which happens where your outstanding is, say, for example, if you share with your customers, your outstanding with the customer grow old, and also for every transaction there is a difference, and if it is not reconciled on timely basis, it will definitely result into the write-offs, etc., and or bad debts that way. On the vendor side, there are GST issues, there are duplicate payments being made to the vendors, or there are internal frauds which can happen, cash flow issues, etc., which happens at a company level. So overall, if you see the revenue leakages, it can take up to 8 to 10% of your net profit. That's a huge hit on the company's bottom line, and which is directly linked with your customers and vendors. So the definite solution to this is very simple. That if you say, for example, if you deal with 1,000 plus customers and vendors, if you are able to quarterly confirm and reconcile the balances with these parties, and are able to reconcile that on a periodic basis, the differences would be sorted very soon, and it will result into the blockage of these revenue leakages. But the problem statement is that even if you deal with, say, for example, 3,000 parties, even you will have to spend around 2 man days per party, which is around 6,000 man days. and which is equivalent to 24 finance employees who would be have to be deployed to do these confirmations and reconciliations, which is around 1.5 crores of a cost. But that is what our traditional solution looks like, and which is definitely not possible for any business. And the call they take is generally the kind of a benefit which they will receive versus the cost they have to incur is almost similar, and they end up not doing the process on a all party level, but just the parties where there is a huge problem statement and the business is stuck. So those are the overall basis how the entire system works. Quickly in terms of so what do Firmway offer? So we have completely automated the entire balance confirmation process with respect to the customers and vendors. So it's a very simple solution which we have done is what we have done is we have integrated our software with the accounting software. It will fetch all the details of your customers, vendors, their closing balances. It will send them a link, a confirmation request in the email through a link, and they can click on the link. They can say whether they agree, disagree with the balance which is outstanding, and they can attach their ledger statements and they can submit it. So this way, you know that okay, which customer there is a difference, which vendor there is a difference, etc. Once they submit that, the system is smart enough to read their ledgers and compare it with the client's ledger and give you an output that these many customers, this many entries you have not booked, or these many debit note rate by your customers have not been accounted by you, so and so forth. So this is just a quick glance on the brief solution which we had, uh, so that you now understand the problem statement which we are trying to solve. If you see, the problem is very big, but the solution is very basic, which we are trying. We're trying to solve a problem statement of confirmation and reconciliation. And in this small statement, we were able to create a successful business model. So that also depicts that the idea can be small, or but it can be, if executed properly, it can solve a very big problem for the company. So so in terms of now, quickly I'll take you through my journey. So how Firmway started till the time where it reached the way we are at a 150 million rupees revenue. So we the entire thing I explained you the way the idea was generated. So the way we built thought of developing an audit confirmation software. We thought that we will sell this software to all the CA firms in India. It's a huge market which we have in India, and there are more than 60,000 chartered accountancy firm. There are more than 10 lakh businesses. A confirmation is required from all the parties. It is not being followed diligently in India, and people, it leads to a lot of frauds being identified. And if this process was to be followed seriously, the frauds could have been identified much earlier, and the entire thing could have the innocent investors could be saved. So that was the entire pitch which we started with. So once we did the feasibility study, definitely we can charge, say for example, 50 rupees per confirmation, and the cost would be, the variable cost would be of the software cost only, etc. And we identified that okay, there are, like I said, these 60,000 CA firms into say 200 confirmations, and then there would be that kind of the market size we would be having, and it would be a successful business model. So we started with this. Then the stage came up is that we discussed this model with our mentors. So our mentors definitely, for any CA student or CA who wish to start, would be his colleagues, or where they have worked before, or their family members, or their senior influencer member who have been part of this industry, so and so forth. So we also did the same. We went to our senior in our Natwarlal Vyapari and Company, our the managing partner over there, who was, and we reached out to them when we did our articleship, and we reached out to him that this is what our idea looks like, and he was also quite impressed that yes, it solves a big problem statement for the audit firms at large, and for the country, the companies at large. And Then we also hosted, for example, a house party. We called few friends who from CA fraternity only who know about this problem statement. We understood their feedback, etc., on the system, and that's how we geared up for taking the product to the market. So that is also a very important phase for anyone to start with it, in terms of always study your market and take feedback from them. The third part was what we did is, since we were a young team of CAs, again, we didn't had access to a huge fund, or we were not serial entrepreneurs, so that we would immediately we get our idea and we start with it, we'll raise a huge fund. So what we decided is something which has been always done by say a business mindset, is we were two partners, so I and Vivek Chandan. So what we did is Vivek started with a practice, CA practice, and I started with this startup. So we started both the companies. He started looking after the practice, and I started looking after the startup. And we were very sure from the right that every so the one person has to focus in the specific company only. So you should not mix things. So if you try to if you try to do both the things together, it will be a big problem statement and not be able to make success in either of the case. So what we started is there we needed funds, so we earned from practice and we invested that money in the startup, and we were able to start a journey. So that was our action plan, and that's how which we started the entire process. So once we started this, we got a few funds. So we started back. The idea came us in October 2015, and then where we started a practice and we started working on the idea. In around July 2016, we took a plunge. Now that we had some funds with us, we then we thought of that we can now start a startup and invest it in, because definitely it requires a capital to build a tech product first. Without that, you cannot do anything. And since we don't come from a tech background, so we were the first challenge which we had was finding a developer. So a developer who can understand what we want to build, and he can then accordingly build that. And definitely, he will not charge us a bomb. And so one aspect is we can hire up the team or we can outsource it to someone. And when it comes to hiring a team, we didn't had that kind of an experience that we can hire a developer, and we can more of monitor that developer so that he is building the things properly or not, the architecture is proper or not, the coding is being done properly or not. So all those things, if you were to see as an entrepreneurs, as a chartered accountant, being since we were CAs, within that had that experience. And the only option which was left for us was to outsource. So we started looking for a person who can then look out for our development, who is trustable, who we can share, because he would be building the entire thing, having the entire code, and investing the part of our vision. So we looked out for a person. Definitely, if you reach out, we reached out to few people who were starting their journey as a service developer, self development company, and we reached out to reputed developer firms also. So, and when we reached out to them, secondly, the cost was so high that we understood from the day one that we'll not be able to afford it. And even if we started, the cost can change periodically, and the cost can increase significantly, and then we will be in a cost crunch. So we took a plunge and we decided to go ahead with a new company which started this journey of software development. And it was one of our best decisions which we made. And we got Krupal Solanki, who made our entire tech, and he built the entire solution for us from the scratch. And even today, there was a point where he uh, stopped doing his business, and he was full-fledgedly doing Firmway, and he was onboarded as our CTO. And today also he is currently managing the entire architecture reviewing and is actively part of our team as a advisor. So that's how the strong roots is what you have to build. So for us, being from CA, the first thing which we did is hired a developer, gave him my advance, and asked him to start the development. So that was the journey. Then the second aspect is that now, since we already are developing this, we need also the team to say manage the product development and to start selling it to the customers, pitching it to that. So we did definitely hire a team. So we asked our few friends. So we created a founding team where we asked a few friends who were there in our articleship or previous jobs, and if they can join us as founding team members. And that's how we built. We got Jay Savla, who is also a chartered accountant by qualification, and he joined us as a third co-founder in the entire journey. And fourth, we also had Fenil Zakaria, who was also who was doing articleship with us. So that's how we built the entire team. We gave product to Jay was handling the product. I was handling a part of sales and other aspects. Vivek was definitely handling the practice, and Fenil was handling the entire operations and all. So that's how we made a small team of 4 people, and then we started hiring people, and then we got a team size to 12 people, 10 to 12 at that time, in a year and a half time. So we hired this small team, and then we did a product launch. So since being from a CA background, yes, you don't know a lot of things about tech. And if you also not know aware much about the startup world, then things are pretty new for you, which you do by yourself. So, but the day had come when we launched a product, and we wanted to take it to chartered accountants, and so we CA firms and corporates. So, one example we got our first client after a lot of efforts we did. The client paid us a small fee of 2,000 rupees, and that was a very important day of our life, where of our journey, where we were able to build some concept, some solution. So when you start a tech solution, you are not very sure. So something kind of a confirmation software, which is not there in India before. There was nothing called confirmation software before in India, and whether that concept will work or not, and you created a something differently. And we started with that. We released that into the market, and so we talked to a few customers whether they would like to. So everyone was showing interest. Yes, the software is very good, it will help us and all. But when it comes to whether they like to buy the solution, that is where we get the real test done, and we were facing a lot of concerns over there. But yes, that was a positive point where we find a first client, and who gave us a small fee of 2,000 rupees. And we still remember that we distributed sweets more than worth 2,000. So definitely, but it was a different feeling as a startup founder once you have that. But the journey was quite different from that. We would like to share that the business model which we created, and the market size which we ascertained, the feedback which we got from team, etc. We identify that it will not be a feasible business solution. Our fundamental mistake which we did is the software was very good. It solved a lot of problem. The It solved a solution, definitely. Was a complete solution for that. But the audience which we were asking to pay for, which is auditors, didn't have that kind of a budget for this kind of an activity. So traditionally, if you see, it's a very important activity. Yes, it is one of the highest non-compliant to balance to the standards on auditing and everything of that sort. But it was not able to sustain in the market. So they were not able to pay. So we had two challenges. Either we charge 50 rupees per confirmation. So either if you're sending 100 confirmation, we charge you a 5,000 fee and you ask your clients to pay for that. But the challenge was that if they were asking the clients to pay for it, the clients were asking, why do you want to do this process XYZ, like through a third party and all, and why you want us to pay for that and all. And till the time they were used to get approval for that, the audit season is already a due date based season and all. So we used to face challenges that they, even if they go ahead, they like the solution, the clients take a lot of time to go ahead with it. So that's where we faced a solution or a challenge of they not paying. Then we thought of why not we reduce the fee and all to a great extent so that auditors can afford themselves. But then we will not be able to make a profitable business. So this was the biggest dilemma which we had, and we identified that we would not be able to go ahead with this solution. We would spend a lot of time and we will not earn sizable enough of revenue. And that's why we decided to pivot. So it's also a very important thing for all the attendees who are there today that pivoting is not something which is bad, but it is something which you should realize pretty fast. And as fast as you understand, it is something which you can definitely, based on your experience till date, you can take an action on that. So with those kind of a thing, we went ahead and we built a solution that why don't we use this confirmation software for corporates where they deal with thousands of customers and vendor, and why they don't start using it for their business purpose to identify these differences. And that's how we went ahead with the confirmation, and then we went ahead with the other solutions for in terms of confirmation and GST reconciliation, ledger reconciliations. And then we built a suite of products till date. So that was the scenario. But at that time, we had to pivot. And in that pivot, we had to downsize also. So another mistake which we made is that we hired many people and we scaled up very fast till the time we had a successful business model startup. So I guess that is also what a lot of companies face today, that they expand fast, but there will be a time where they realize that it's not a successful business model. And if you realize it pretty soon in your journey of startup, you can make it, you can come out of it. But if you realize pretty late in your startup journey, it's too late to do that pivot. So, but yes, we did that. We did the downsizing also. So, from a team of 12 people, we again came to a team of 5 people, four of founding team members and one intern. So, that's how we had to scale down again and think of it that how we can create a solution which can actually solve a market problem. Post that, we created these solutions. So, we understood that sell another important aspect is sell what your customer wants and not what you feel the customer want. So that is also biggest learning which we learned at Firmway, that we were trying to say that okay, this is a audit confirmation software, this is going to change the entire world, the way the confirmation happens, no more frauds. Frauds would reduce to a great extent. All the corporates would auditors would starting using that, and corporates, if they are saying showing fake sales, they are inflating their revenues, showing fake FDs and all. These could be highlighted at initial. So everything was great, but if your customers don't want it, so if the auditors don't want it, if the corporates don't want it, because for them it is like more the information you have, more the problem statement it becomes for the auditors. Because if you see as a practical approach, they have to take the fees from the clients. The fees are not very great or very huge. They have a very limited kind of a manpower, bandwidth, etc. And they don't want the audit to be getting stretched endlessly. So considering all those aspects of it, we did pivot, we did downsizing, and we released a new product. And when back in 2017 GST came, we released GST reconciliation software, and it did pretty great. We got a few early revenues customers started coming in, and we started facing a good amount of inquiries, etc. But yes, it was still a difficult times, because from the problem is, definitely 0 to 1 is a difficult stage, but 1 to 100 is much difficult. So we were able to say get to 0 to 1, but then 1 to 100 was very difficult. But slowly and gradually started doing sales, started doing identifying the market and being behind it continuously. Uske piche the. So we were able to correct that part of it. Then we raised funding. So it was pretty late after we started. I guess 3.5 years we ran it on our own money, and then once we were sure that okay, this is a model which can grow, we looked out of for funding. And after the funding which we had, so for funding again, it's a very critical aspect for you. So definitely the glamorous work world is different, where you see that you get an idea, you go out to reach out to few investors, they invest a few lakhs and crores of rupees, and then you build the entire thing, and it becomes a overnight success, and you become a unicorn. So, but that is not how, till the time you, I guess, you came across to this story of Firmway, you would have already realized that that's not how generally it works for all the companies. And so, but this funding is also very critical. So one which we had is that we reached out to chartered accountants only. These were in audit practice, or these were in CFOs of the companies, the one which were our target audience. So they used to understand a product well, because if we go to a person who does not understand finance that well, for him the problem would not be a very big, or he might not be able to correlate how this solution can create an impact. But then that's how we reached out to angel investors. There's definitely a lot of story about it also in terms of funding, but I guess since we also have limited time, I like to wrap it up. So we reached out to institutions for funding, and we got a very low valuation around it, and it was a very small number that what we were getting, and we were in doubt that whether we should take it or not, because if we don't take it, we do not have fund to go ahead. But if we take it, then the valuation is so low that it dilutes a lot of money. And I guess that's where it's also very important aspect which I like to highlight is your advisors or your mentors comes into the play. So you should always be having your advisor or mentor who can guide you. So we remember that one of our previous angel investors we were talking to, they helped us connect with one of the advisors, and from there we were able to understand that how the entire startup world works, and he gave us the confidence that your value, because we were about to close the deal with the institution, but then he told us that how the valuation works, and that what you are asking is correct and all. So they don't he there is always one thing which he says till today also, that I cannot take the business decisions on your behalf, but I'm always there to validate your points or argue with you, give you a soundboard. So that's where we got it, and he told us that you should be at least getting double the valuation, and you should go out to people from this fraternity who would be very happy to help you. And that's how we reached out to around 18 chartered accountants who were in the leading positions in the industries with the partners of Big Fours and CFOs of large companies. And we were able to successfully close the round at that time at double the valuation what we were getting previously to that. So that's how we got our seed funding. And lastly, that's how we then went ahead on the path of scale up, and we were then able to scale up from say 5 clients in 2018 to say 150 clients today, paying clients which we have today in 2022. So in 4 years, we were able to say achieve this kind of a scale, and definitely it's still a big part for us. Beyond this, that how do we scale this up at a that level? But this is where how we reach to the 150 million mark. So this is, I guess, another 1 minute I'll take to end this session, and then we'll have the Q&A if time is available. But if I were to give you a key learnings, what we had in this is, say, one, that there was like we heard from Preeti ma'am also that that CAs are now also going into the field of building tech startups. I personally know a few CAs and who have done a great job in building solutions, like you would have heard of Flexi Loans, which was started by three chartered accountants, and so and so forth. And they are doing great in this industry also. So it's not that you need a tech background to become a startup founder. It's just that you chartered accountants can also build tech startups. uh, don't wait for making the perfect product and start styling. So this is, if you see, if we would have applied this approach, we would have understood that the before we were investing a huge amount in audit confirmation software, we would have highlighted that this is not going to become the product for us today. Definitely we sell audit confirmation solution. We have more than 500 clients, but now our approach is different. We don't consider that as a software for business, but we consider that as a marketing channel where these CA firms who use our solution at a 90% discount indirectly help us connect with the corporates. And that's where we then bill our MRP to the corporates and we make our profit. So definitely don't wait for the perfect product to be ready. You will save a lot of money. Start selling it to the customers and start handling their queries and understand what they require. Understand paying capacity of your customers. I highlighted that point, that how we fail to understand that the solution is very good, but the auditors do not have a paying capacity for this software, for the uses they want to do it. Build what client needs and not what you think they need. So that is another key takeaway which you should have from this platform. Then don't do everything by yourself. That's another one of the big mistakes which we do as founders, that we go ahead and we want to say that okay, sales bhi main karunga, product bhi main banaunga, I'll also talk to the team, my team building bhi I'll do. Everything they try to do because they would be doing it the best, right? But that is not how a business is created. A business is created that when your team does it, and it is they are able to do it successfully. That's how you'll be able to replicate and scale up the model. This is very important in the current way the practice also works. So the previous generation of the practice, how they used to work, was more of, if you see, those were individual contributors, proprietor firms, and they were used to do that. But recently, if you see the trend, there are a lot of company firms which have understood and they are now doing partnership, creating a bigger brand, bigger model, so that they can replicate it and make it big, right? So this is one thing which we at Firmway understood, that we were, as founders, were trying to do everything, but that is not the correct way to do things. Stay connected with peer startups, incubation centers, because there would be a lot of time you'll be passing through a lot of flows in your life, in your startup journey. And these are the peers who will show you the real picture and not the glamorous stories which you will hear online and everything. And these are people who will keep you grounded and keep you moving in the right directions. So always be connected. ICI in themselves started with the incubation centers. So that is still will take time to mature, but yes, that would be a great direction where ICI is heading to, and I wish it would be helpful. We were one of the first four companies which were incubated by ICI when they started back in 2019 in ICI Bhavan BKC. But now the program has geared up pace and it's happening the entire country. have a co-founder as startup. That is the last point I have to share with you before I end this session. So uh, it is as good as it becomes difficult where you split your equity. But if you have your co-founders with you, because it can be a very lonely journey. So building a startup, and if you have someone to share that uh, uh, story with and share your highs and low with, it will take you a long way, right? Apart from definitely funding benefits it's give you, that people don't want to invest in a sole founding company. So those are the few benefits you'll get. So to end, this is our key takeaways from our journey. I hope I was able to share you some real insight on our journey. We came out very transparently, our highs and lows which we had in our journey, and hope I it will motivate many of you to deliberately think about it and see whether this could be useful or not. So I guess Gautam, we are and Vatsal, we are done through the session. This is just my contact details. If someone of you want to contact me for any other queries, I'll be happy to help you guys in any way possible. So you can note down my coordinates in this way. And maybe Gautam, I guess we have already crossed 1 hour. So
Sure, sure. So
how do
I
you want
think
to take that?
if there are any questions, Yogesh bhai can take the questions.
Yeah, thank you, Prashant bhai. Any question, please?
So Yogesh bhai, the questions will be there in the admin panel.
Yeah. One of the question raised by the Ronakji, that how did your family agree, like being a CA, there is some expectation that person will support at home and there will no revenue sometime, that we have to do a startup, but there is no revenue for the first, and how the family will support in this?
So it was so
Prashant
I
sir?
guess one of the most important aspect which I was not able to cover is family support, right? So it is very, very important for to have your family support, financial backing, as well as moral support which you have. So in fact, it was the other way around. So my father, who is also a chartered accountant by profession. My wife is also CA. My sister is also CA. So we are family of chartered accountants. But he has taken risk in his life. He's also seen a lot of things. And what he advises that since we were at an early stage of our life, 23, 24, he said that you have 2, 3 years where you can see what you interest you and whether that could be a successful venture for you or not. So there was a lot of support which gave. Definitely there was resistance that you can get a job, good job. You can go, so he runs a portfolio management service. He has been a stockbroker before. So he had a good a client's AUM for that. And that's how I also started with CFA and how we can help that. But then I came across this opportunity and he was the first person to say that, okay, you should go and try that out. He definitely being from this background understood what the problem statement we are trying to solve. He understood that it can become a big thing if done properly, and that's how he was able to support. And there were situations where when we had were downsizing and all, he was the only person who motivated us that it takes time for creating a business, right? It does not happen overnight. It does not happens the way you see in the media world, that in 2 years you were able to make an unicorn and all. So don't be disheartened. And this is continuous. You're doing you are creating something profitably. So where you are not burning cash. So he understood few parameters and he pushed us that you should continue a year more. And in that year, we were able to grow it to a size. So I feel that your family plays a very important role in this. And if you have a support from them, so it will just add to your growth story.
Yeah, I think so in the slide also you highlighted that Mr. Bhavesh Agarwal, who has done the IIT and the big job, he has went down and formed the Ola. So Ola is
Yes.
now the big story right now. So yeah, that's an excellent answer. I think so. This is enough question. I think so. You are fantastic. That no doubt has been raised by the members. So thank you, Prashant Gupta ji, for giving encouraging guide over the successful story of the startup in India. As most of we knows that number of startups was done by the first startup was done by the Ritesh Agarwal. The name was the Oyo. He started the journey with the 2 lakh and concluded his journey with a two huge background. And the same, the continue by yourself as CA Prashant Gupta, who is today's speaker, the CFO, CEO, and the co-founder of the Firmway. He highlighted over his own journey comprises of 400 CA firms and 500 corporates under his checklist and running his runway in the rate of 150 million revenue. That was excellent. So you have done a wonderful your journey, what you said as a picture to the members that how the CA can achieve anything in his journey, not like as a traditional business, but he can afford the tech business also, like boat, yourself, and number of other background. We know that. Thank you, sir, for this your wonderful journey background. In your journey, you had been ticking of his journey from the traditional CA business to the number of hiring founder team to the seed funding and the final growth. You given a full chart over how you start your journey from normal as a traditional to the tech founder to the number of other ways you can move ahead. You given is the wonderful within a chart that self. Thank you very much. Also in your topic you has updated how the business right now moving from the normal traditional business to the startup business with the high valuation which make as a business in a the other way around, like as a Meru versus the Uber. On the behalf of Women and Young Members Excellent Committee, I hereby thank you, sir, for sharing your knowledge over the topic with the members and adding professional views over new ideas and startups. Thank you very much, Prasantji, for giving in-depth over knowledge with a proper example that made audience with a nil doubt in today's lecture. Thank you very much, sir. Over to you, Gautamji.
Thank you, Yogesh, for a warm, for such a great conclusion. I hope I was able to add value to the entire attendees today who attended. And thank you everyone from Gautam Bhai and everyone for arranging such sessions for the youth of India.
सर आपके बाद से एक स्लोगन याद आ रहा है, एक आइडिया जो बदल दे दुनिया. इट्स योर. थैंक यू सर.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you, Prashantji. Thank you, Yogesh.
Thank you, Prashantji. Thank you, Yogesh. For the second part of the session, covering the topic of automation of financial statements in Excel, we have with us CA Jainam Satra. I will take this quick opportunity of providing a brief introduction of our speaker for the session. CA Jainam Satra is currently working at a senior level with the Ellis and Hi-Fi group of companies, which is one of the leading manufacturers of switches and electrical accessories. He is currently the group head of the Indirect Tax and System Automation Department. Jainam has always focused on making difficult things look simpler, and maybe that is why he has been successful in automating lots of manual processes. He also has interest in writing poems and blogs occasionally on various random non-professional topics of his interest, and that is why his blog name is Professionally Not So Professional. We are glad to have him today for sharing his valuable insight with us. With this brief introduction, I'll call CA Jainam Satra to take over the stage from here. Over to you, CA Jainam Satra.
Hello. Hello. Good evening, everyone. I hope I am audible to everyone. First of all, thank you, Ed, for the wonderful introduction, and also for the panel members who have invited me here for this session. So I guess we have very limited time and a very technical topic on hand. So I guess we directly move towards the screen sharing. So I guess we shall start. Okay. So I hope everyone is able to view my screen. You can see here that we have already created what in our office we call is an Excel file or template, wherein everything is there as per the format which the data is required. So it is balance sheet, that is profit and loss account. We are also having schedules for the balance sheets, and also we are having schedules for the P&L. So I am not here to make you understand all this. The main goal for all this session is to make understand or to be able to generate a template where you can automate all the processes in your offices. Okay, I'll just show you how this all automation works. Trial balance ready for what we have to do is we have to just copy it, paste here. Then we have to copy this last year trial balance.
Your voice is not audible in between.
Okay. So what I have done is I have kept two trial balance ready at my screen slide, and I have just pasted and these two, the slides which I am making it red color. I have just copied these files from here and I have pasted it here. And you will observe that after I have finished my pasting, my total financials are ready. Everything is cross-checked, everything is completely tallied, everything is ready. My P&L and profit and loss are also matching with my profit and loss account. And it is not finished here. We have also completed building our schedules also. And also our schedules for P&L are ready. Okay. The only thing which is missing is note number. So now it is very much important that we also have this note numbers ready or on hand. So what I have done for this automation is there is one table that is called schedule table, wherein I have listed all the schedules which are required to be reported. Okay. See, note numbers are also being allotted to everyone, and consequently, you will see every schedule which is applicable to a particular balance sheet is also being auto numbered. Even for profit and loss account, also it is being auto numbered, and also schedules of balance sheets are also auto numbered. See, everything is getting auto numbered. Supposingly, if you observe here, other long-term liabilities is blank. There are no transactions here. Okay, so this transaction is controlled by here. So what I will do is I will just, instead of here no, I will just delete this. So all this auto numbering is automatically updated in your trial balance and balance sheets. See, prior here there was number no schedule for long term, note number 4 was being denoted. Now that 4 number has been removed and it has been auto shifted. Okay, and the thing is not just ending here. I have also automated this printing process also. So what you have to do is after filling everything, you have to just click on save PDF. It will go and will create a PDF for you, which can be printed simply. Okay, so that's all. Your financials are ready to be filed and signed by the auditors. Okay. So the main purpose behind today's session is not about to show you how this magic, how I can do the magic. The purpose is to share with you how you can develop such a tool in your office or in your offices, so that the manual processes which are to be required to done, which are required to be done continuously, can be automated. Okay. So the magic of what it is, it starts from list of accounts. So currently I have taken tally as an base, but you can take any trial balance or any form of trial balance from anywhere. The logic remains same for everyone. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to create a list of ledgers primarily, where you can list out what type of expense, asset, or liability that account is indicating. Just for example, if you go, debtors are to be marked as assets. Similarly, if we check out the more liabilities and expenses, I will just share you why I am bifurcating these expenses and liabilities per se. Because I guess everyone will be aware that liabilities always have a credit balance, assets will have a debit balance, income will have credit, and expense will have debit. So this bifurcating, what this bifurcation helps is, see, for everything, no, there I have kept a logic. Just in here case, you can observe that there is a loss in trial balance. So system should be able to judge that there is a loss in trial balance. So what system will do is liabilities. So liabilities is always credit. Credit is heavier than debit side. So it is always has to be credit minus debit. So if some account which is having a debit balance and is a liability, so it has to be indicated into negative balance. So that is how the system is designed, and that is why I am asking for this bifurcation, whether it is asset, liabilities, or income or expenses. And similar is the case, okay, all your debtors or everything for financials, under which schedule they fall. So this is the list of schedule as per the formats prescribed. I have covered here all the schedules, that is balance sheets and trial balance, both. Everything is covered here. Same for the profit and loss account also. Okay. Sorry. Now, what processes we can do to automate this kind of sheet or to prepare this kind of sheet? So what I had done is I had forwarded this sheet to one of my clients, and I have shared him that you need to fill up this data. So see, everywhere there is a drop down list. From that only they have to select. They cannot add anything or they cannot delete anything. So everyone has to select whatever there is listed in that sheet. Out of that sheet, they cannot do anything. Similar is the case with working notes. Okay. This also can be further automated, but for the sake of simplicity, I have just kept it selection only. Okay. This drop down can be automated into an dynamic drop down. That is, if you can type a 3-4 characters, and then you can press, click on the drop down arrow, only words which are containing that 3-4 characters will pop up. Other than all that, words will be hidden, hide out. Okay. Okay. Some of the issues which I faced was many of the users can end up doing this. They will paste special something, or they will add something after the words, which might fail our balance sheet, because it will not then get tally. Or someone uses its brain and does this with you. He will come here and he will paste special something extra. So this validation will not check the paste special thing as such. So what this will do is this will hamper your working flow. एक minute. Okay. Maybe I have changed some that ledger which is not active currently. So it is not hampering our thing. So I'll just change with this. See, the moment I add something which is not matching my criteria, okay. Sorry for the inconvenience. I had some trouble with my Excel sheet. So I had to open a blank new one. So the moment I change something which is not fulfilling my criteria, data validation sheet, the data will automatically give me a See, so anything which is not matching my validation criteria, system will pop up an error. So what we can do to overcome this is we can simply check what user has filled which is not matching our criteria. For example, I will just search this. I will just search this. Search from the schedule where I have listed. I will check. So what system will do? It will automatically check what is not matching their criteria. So I will just apply filter to it. I will go here. I will filter out check once. So check one will give me that where the user has violated what he was supposed not to do. So we can rectify the errors made by the client's accountant or anyone. Or simply you can do is Control C, replace, find this, replace with what we want, and we can replace all. The moment we will do it, everything will get auto checked and our balance sheet will back to the normal. So what I have done is, first of all, I have marked all my ledgers to what it should be. For example, it is type of liabilities, asset, expenses, and for each ledger, for financial, I want to group it by what? Share capital, cash equivalents, inventories, trade receivables, and similarly, each ledger for schedules or for working note, where do I want to group this all? Okay. After this is done, I have applied the basic formulas. For example, wherever you find this, you should apply if error VLOOKUP. So what I need to VLOOKUP? I need to VLOOKUP this account from my list of ledgers. And from list of ledgers, I want you to bring this schedule note which I have marked for this ledger here. Similarly, for financials, for what financial group I want to bring it here, and here amount. Here, as I mentioned to you earlier, I'll just increase my screen zoom so that you can see what logic I have applied here. See, you can see here, I have applied if, after that or C7. C7 is indicating this. That is, if it is liabilities or it is income, I want you to minus G7 from H7. G7 from H7. And similarly, if it is asset or expenses, then I want to do it a reverse way. So system by this, what it does is, it will first analyze whether it is liability or asset. If it is liability, so by default liabilities will have credit minus debit balance, which will indicate a credit balance, which will have a heavier credit side. Here, it in example, you can see that it is having a debit balance, which is indicating it is liability, but on a negative side. So it is technically an asset. So for all, this logic will apply and everything will get auto populate on based upon this logic. Okay. Similarly, I have applied this logics in here also. Similar case. Okay. This seems to be a long exercise, but believe me, it is an one-time exercise because normally businesses don't change their ledgers or the name of ledgers every year or might update, but there are not big or huge update in these scenarios. So this is a one-time exercise which will help you in automating lot of trial balances or lot of financials. This logic can even be applied to consolidated trial balances. Okay, so after the thing that you have applied here, this logic here applied is a simple formula of sum if. I will give you the list of all the formulas applied here, and also I will share you the Excel sheets. So if any case, in any case, if you miss what formula or what logics were applied, I'll give you the errors of syntax also. Okay, what kind of error you might encounter. But to cover this topic in a 40 to 45-minute session is a difficult task. So I will not go much into that detail, but I'll just explain you the formula. Ideally, what formula is based upon. Okay. So if you could check what I have mentioned or applied formula here is sum if. Sum if by default syntax is what range you want to sum. See, you can see sum if by default syntax is sum if first you need to define the range, then you need to define the criteria, and after that you need to define based upon the first two input what column or which column is to be summed. Okay, so here if you can check what I have defined to the system is you check current year's trial balance starting from row D7 to E233 based on the criteria of this, and if you find this in D7 to 233, I want you to sum the values which are mentioned in E7 to E233. So if you go to the trial balance, you will observe that I have instructed system to sum starting from D to 233. See here. So I have started instruction from D7 to 233. The last line for this is 233. And here it is starting from D7. In this range, if you find reserves and surplus, I want to give the sum of E range, E column, which is being brought up here. The catch here, while applying the sum of formula is, you need to maintain this D7 233 and E7 233 to be similar. Supposingly, if by error you mistake this to 234, system will not work as designed. System will throw you an error because it is having some logical failure in this. Sorry. See, if you see, system will start bringing up the different answers for these different things because system will get confused. So catch here is always skip this. Always skip this range, that is D7 to E233, exactly similar to E7 233, because 7 to 233 should be matching. If this is not matching, system will not work as desired. Okay. Similar, I have applied this formula here also in financials of P&L, wherein you can check the logics which are identical to what we discussed just now. Okay. See. Okay. Schedules also similar logic has been applied. There is no difference. But in schedules, while designing the schedules, you need to keep in mind that for the profit and loss account or capital reserve, where we have to link it with the previous year's opening balance or previous year's balances, because they are not based, their calculation is not based upon the today's or this year's balance. So there also there needs to be applied some logic. So what I have done is I have linked the last year's profit and loss with last year's P&L from our profit and loss account, that is this. The balance, opening balance is one time which has been feeded manually. Here also I have kept a logic, and this opening balance, this opening balance or this opening balance, either of the balance has to be fed up manually to get arrive at this logic. Otherwise this will not work. Only in the reserves and surplus case where we need to have a opening balance link from previous year. Rest all things will automatically bring you the answers from sum if only, everywhere. When I'll share you this file, you can check it out and can update me if anything is not up to date. Okay. Same, we have applied the same logic for schedule for P&L also. So I'll not keep on repeating the same issues again and again. Okay. Now, in earlier, at the beginning of the video, I mentioned you that this notes number are also being shared or are coming at an automatic rate. So how this is been achieved is, what I have done is I have applied a formula. Formula is what indicating, it is indicating first of all, it is indicating if B3 is indicating the highlighted cell in blue color. If that is blank, I want you to keep this as blank. But in case if B3 is yes, I want this max to be max plus 1. So max plus 1, what it is doing is, it is simply basically doing, it will check what the maximum number it is having above it this cell. So above this cell, the maximum number which was available was 0 or note number. The note number is not a number, so by default it takes null value which is becoming 0. So whenever you put first yes, it is always 0 plus 1, which will bring you 1. Similarly, as soon as I will add a yes or no here, it will automatically shift in all the numbers. Okay. Same, you can anywhere check it out. You can anywhere check it out. Yes. Okay. Alternatively, even this can be automated. Example, I'll just show you. If error, we look up what I want to VLOOKUP. I want to VLOOKUP this into my balance sheet here. It is just an example, so I'm taking a small data size. $10 or 0. Otherwise, you can bring blank. Okay. Now, in this formula only, I will do what? If this is greater than 0, then I want a yes, or else it has to be kept blank. So technically what I intend to show you from this is, this yes, currently it has been kept as a manual feed. So you will check that I have to type every time. But with this update, I can say you that this yes also can be automated. But again, automating this yes pop-up is also a little bit tricky or technical session, which I would not be able to cover in this session. The only intention is I need to show you that even we can automate this. Okay. Now, people might be wondering, okay, why reserves and surplus is not showing, because we have a balance here. But if you observe clearly, sorry, if you clearly observe, here it is less than, bigger, greater than 0, whereas there is minus 0. So only in this case, what I will have to do is I will have to just shift it. The logical operator needs to be shifted from indicating it is less than 0. The moment it is yes, I will have a number. Okay. This number automation can also be changed. Just for example, I can use here what count if. What I want to count. I want to count yes. See, automatically it will give me a number. Okay. But here, remember that you need to fix E3. Because always counting should start from E3 and not from that exact particular cell. The moment you will do this, you will observe that it is showing a number. So this number is exactly what it has been linked to, or it has been designed to do. Again here, logical operator will change and bang, you will have an answer. Okay. Now you need to avoid that where there is blank. I don't want this 2 to come up every time, no, where there is data is blank. So for that, we will use if this yes is not having any answer or it is having blank value, then I want that F cell should be kept blank. Otherwise, next formula will apply. So moment you apply this, so you will have this same answer which I derived from using max formula. And similarly, you can derive these logics by making yes or no and asking a yes or no question to your Excel cell, and you can automate your schedule number depending upon the automation you have done earlier. So this is how you can automate the complete Excel automation. This logics, the intention behind this session is to just spark a plug to create a logic. Because once you understand logic, the implication or application of this beautiful sheet is wonderful. You can apply this logic to n number of things. I have always believed that our Nilesh Bhai Shah from our fraternity, no, he always mentions there are more than one ways for nirvana. So ultimate aim is to get your work done. I am just sharing how I take the initiative to do this. I hope the session was good, because it is a very technical session and going into detail is a difficult task. So better if anyone is having question and answer, because question and answers will clarify the doubts, and will create a good session. Hello. 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 Hate.
Yeah, Jainam.
You're audible.
Yes, Hate, you can take over, because I guess the logic which I was required to share, I have shared with you. The more logic will be shared when I share you these files.
Okay. I'll just ask Gautam ji to just take over the question and answers.
Hello.
Yeah, just a second.
Huh.
Hello.
So I think in terms of questions, Jainam, are you going to share this?
Yes. I will share you all these files, and also I will add the formula sheets, because I know this is a technical topic, but assuming that all are the members, no, we are well versed with the formulas. So I guess understanding the logic will not be a much of a difficult task. But I will share you with this file with everyone. So I will share with our team. You can forward it to everyone.
Sure, sure.
But I will not be sharing the trial balances and everything. I will just share you the structure and everything. You
Perfect.
can try with your dummy databases and you can check it out whether it is getting you the same answers or not.
Perfect. Perfect. I think the team can then share it with all the registered participants.
Yes.
Any other questions that we have? I don't think, Jainam, there are any other questions as of now.
Okay.
I think, but let me take a pleasant task of presenting a hearty vote of thanks. Before I formally give you a vote of thanks, I would like to thank the entire committee of Women and Young Members Excellence Committee, the chairperson Preeti Savla and vice chairperson Abhay Chhajer. Also, I would like to thank the technical team for their support, Ruchi, Shanu, and all the participants who have joined in large number to attend this today's meeting. Coming to the pleasant task of vote of thanks, Jaina, first of all, thanks for accepting the invitation at very short notice. I think we had approached you at the last minute and you readily accepted our invite to be the co-speaker for the today's session. I think the insights that you have shared in terms of automation will help us in increasing our productivity and ensure that we save a lot of time during these hectic seasons that we are looking forward to. Once again, on behalf of Women and Young Member Excellence Committee, I propose a very well-deserved vote of thanks and request all the participants to carry a huge round of applause. Our next session would be on next Friday, which is on 14th of April. This would be on audit trail, which is the current topic of the flavor. This would be taken by CA Heniksha. He would be giving a live demo on the tally as well. So request all the participants to register for that event as well.
Okay.
Once again, I thanks Jainam for your contribution to today's session.
Yes, Gautam bhai, I would just like to add what you said. It was really good to give presenting before the young fraternity members like me. The topic which I covered was in a very detailed topic. If you could just spare time and check out the effort behind this sheet, you will understand that this automation will help you a lot. And again, there was a goof up in between where sheet was not actually working. So I will just have to check it out. But luckily, I had a spare sheet because I had one experience like this earlier. So I was ready with the new sheet. Fatafat. So thank you, Gautam bhai, and all the members. Preeti madam also for suggesting. Hope next time we could bring a good session or a good topic with in front of everyone. Thank you, Hit. Thank you, Yogesh. Thank you, Gautam bhai. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Heath, and thanks, Yogesh bhai. Thanks, Vatsal. Once again for their support during the session. I can ask the tech team to formally end the session.
Thank you all. Thank you, women and young member, for giving this opportunity. Thank you, sir. Gautam ji. Thank you.
Thanks.